The Quiet Leaves. A short story. When autumn came to Ashburn, it didn't just bring falling leaves, it brought secrets buried under them. I returned to Ashburn just as the air grew cold and the leaves began to fall in clouds of red and gold. The streets felt smaller, the houses older, and yet the silence heavier. It had been years since I left after my sister Layla drowned. Her absence still pressed on me like damp air. That evening, Sheriff Hart called. His voice was the same, calm, heavy, hiding something.
"A body was found,"
he said, "in a pile of leaves."
"We need your eyes."
I told him I no longer worked crime scenes, but the word leaves pulled at me. I went anyway. The library lawn was fenced off with tape that fluttered in the wind. The air smelled of damp earth and smoke from chimneys. The man lay inside a mound of leaves, lips blue, skin pale, as if autumn itself had swallowed him. I brushed aside the maple and oak, and what I saw made me shiver. Leaves pressed into his mouth, stuffed there with cruel intent. It wasn't nature, it was murder. For a long moment I couldn't move. Around me, children's drawings still hung in the library windows, pumpkins, scarecrows, and orange paper leaves taped with glue. They looked cheerful, almost mocking against the horror at my feet. Sheriff Hart cleared his throat behind me.
"Strange accident.
He muttered.
Too quickly. Too easily."
His words didn't fit what my eyes saw. I rose slowly, brushing dirt from my hands, but the smell of the damp leaves clung to me. Something about the scene tugged at an old memory I didn't want to touch. The day we found Layla's shoes by the culvert. I needed air. I needed distance. But most of all, I needed answers. Back home, I climbed the old oak where Layla and I once hid our treasures, the October ladder, we called it, with wooden rungs hammered in by our father. The tree creaked under me, but it still held. Inside our shoebox of secrets, I found Layla's old notes. One line stopped me cold. "If you get lost, look for what doesn't belong." Her words felt alive, as if she had left me a map. The harvest parade should have been laughter and music, but instead it ended with screams. A woman lay in a bed of leaves arranged carefully around her head like a crown. It was too neat, too deliberate. The killer wasn't just hiding behind autumn, he was staging autumn. Eli, my childhood neighbor, now worked sanitation. He showed me the new leaf truck routes. Both deaths had happened along them. The trucks, with their roaring hoses, could hide or move anything. The driver was Rowan, a poet who wrote about trees. When I asked him, he shook his head. "Ask Hart why he likes the hose so much," he said. His words chilled me more than the cold wind. That night I broke into Calder's funeral home. The smell of lilies and wood polish choked me. In the back room, cedar shavings covered the floor. Boxes of pressed leaves sat on a shelf, each one labeled with names of the dead. I froze when I heard voices. Hart's voice.
"People need their fears arranged,"
he said, and suddenly I understood. Hart wasn't protecting the town, he was controlling it. That night, Eli and I set the trap at the October ladder. I left an envelope of leaves mixed with pollen from Hart's own smoke bush. He came, climbing the rungs like he had done it before. His voice broke the silence.
"I made order from chaos. I kept the darkness where I could see it."
When he saw me, he lunged. His hands closed around my throat. Eli burst from the shadows, dragging him back. We all stumbled toward the culvert. Hart's boots slipped on wet leaves. And then he was gone, swallowed by the same water that had taken Layla. The state police called it an accident. Calder confessed his part, saying Hart had promised him money, power, and safety. But the truth weighed heavier than their reports. For the first time in years, Ashburn felt still. Not safe, but still. I carried Layla's notebook in my pocket, her words warm against me like a heartbeat. Snow came early that year, laying a white blanket over the town. The smoke bush by Hart's house turned brown and brittle. I stood by the culvert, listening to the frozen water below. Layla's voice echoed in my mind. "Look for what doesn't belong." That's how I found him. That's how I survived. And maybe that's how I'll carry her with me through every season that comes.